Welcome to the second episode of the Crack Overflow podcast. Today we're going to go over the Pectra Mainnet announcement that was covered on the Ethereum All-Core Devs call this week. The big announcement was that the Pectra network upgrade is scheduled to activate on Ethereum Mainnet May 7th. And in this blog post, I'm going to go over all of the features and then quickly talk about some of the action items that if you're a staker or a validator, you might need to perform here. I think this is a good overview if you're just generally interested in some of the new tech coming to Ethereum. Let's get into it. So all in all, Pectra follows last year's Denkun upgrade. So this post explores three major improvements. We've got the from EOAs to smart accounts, we've got Validator UX improvements, and then we've got Blob scaling. So from the top here, EOAs to smart contracts. In this section, they're talking about EIP 7702. Which we've covered before, but essentially this allows your EOA, so this is your address in your wallet, like MetaMask or Rainbow Wallet, to act as a smart contract. And with this, you get a lot of different features. So one feature that I'm particularly excited about is gas sponsorship, as well as many more here. But gas sponsorship, I think, is going to improve the onboarding UX in the crypto substantially. Right now, if someone creates a crypto wallet, their hands are tied because they don't actually have any ETH in that wallet to do anything on chain. And that's a huge barrier to entry because we know the steps to get ETH in your wallet. You have to open up an exchange account, you have to deposit fiat, swap fiat for crypto, withdraw, not to mention do KYC. And then finally, can you withdraw it to your wallet and then actually do stuff on chain? So gas sponsorship allows crypto startups to actually take on the cost of onboarding a user. So that means maybe if they onboard into their new app and it's on an L2, the company could take the cost on of, let's say, minting their first NFT or something along those lines. So yeah, super cool to see gas sponsorship finally going in. Right now, we do have ways to do that in Ethereum, but they're always sort of shoehorned into certain designs and not the cleanest. So having this native is really nice. As well as turning your EOA into a smart contract, it means you've got a lot more power within your EOA. So it can add controls, it can add spending limits, it can finally fix the poor user experience with the ERC20 tokens where you have to approve and then you have to transfer. That can all be done in one transaction, which is super nice. So the next section here is Validator UX Improvements. And one of the largest improvements here is from EIP 7251, which raises the maximum balance that a validator can receive rewards from. So right now it's at 32 ETH, and that basically just means that when you're running a validator, if you put 33 ETH in there, your effective balance is still 32 ETH, so you can only earn rewards on that. This EIP actually increases that effective balance from 32 to 2048. I think one of the main people who will benefit from this in the short term is probably exchanges and staking services, where they simply just don't have to manage as many nodes, and their infrastructure can be simplified by a great deal. If you are a home staker and you've got two nodes running at the minute, totaling 64 ETH, you could actually just consolidate that. So some nice validator UX improvements. Okay, up next is Blob scaling, and we know what blobs are already, so just run over it again. Basically, the L2 centric roadmap relies on L2s, taking execution from the L1, and basically if a user wants to withdraw back to the L1 at any point, they need to prove to the L2's bridge on the L1 that the execution actually did occur in the L2. And to do that, we have this data availability problem where you need to prove to the L1 bridge that you did in fact own the funds and you did in fact withdraw them. So Ethereum's solution to that was originally call data, posting the transaction traces from the L2 to call data on L1. This is pretty expensive, so the roadmap started to introduce this idea of Blobs, which was basically an alternative data layer on Ethereum nodes that had its own fee market that was cheaper than call data. Unlike call data, which nodes store indefinitely, Blobs are pruned from the network after 4,096 epochs, which is approximately 18 days. This bounds the amount of disk space they can use. So Ethereum Mainnet currently supports an average of 3 blobs per block with a maximum of 6 to accommodate periods of high demand. With EIP 7691, these numbers will increase to an average of 6 to a maximum of 9. So yeah, we are doubling the base case here, and increasing the number of blobs per block is important to realizing the L2 centric roadmap. I know that a lot of talk has been going on lately about scaling the L1, but the L2 centric roadmap is still really important. And if we want to fully realize the benefits of an L2 world, we need to make it economical for these L2s to actually post their transaction data back to L1. And I think we're going to see over the coming years this blob space just continuing to be increased for L2s. So yeah, exciting stuff there. Here's a list of the changes introduced in Pectra. So guys, all of these features have already been activated on the test nets, Holsky and Sepolia. And the Ethereum core devs have been working super hard to roll this out to all of the different client teams. So if you're running a staker yourself, you're going to want to update both your consensus layer client and your execution layer client. Depending on the type of client you have here, each team has released their version that contains the Pectra releases. So for example, if you're running a Prism node, that'll be version 6. And if you're running Geth, that'll be version 1.15.9. So in the frequently asked questions section, there's one question that I want to read out. As a staker, what do I need to do? Like I mentioned, to be compatible with the upgrade, update your node's execution and consensus layer clients to the versions in the table listed above. Make sure both your beacon node and your validator client are updated. Really important. Yeah, and then like guys, if you're an ETH holder, is there anything you didn't need to do? The answer is no. If you use an exchange, digital wallet or hardware wallet, you do not need to do anything unless you're informed to take additional steps by your exchange or wallet provider. If you'd like to watch the upgrade go live, you can join the online viewing party. I think I'll tune into this. It might be fun. We've got a countdown here on YouTube. I think it might be useful to go over this FAQ just to try to like get an understanding of how these network upgrades work. So how do Ethereum network upgrades work? Ethereum network upgrades require explicit opt-in from node operators in the network. While client developers come to consensus on what EIPs are included in an upgrade, they're not the ultimate deciders of the adoption. For the network to go live, validators and non-staking nodes must manually update their software to support the protocol changes being introduced. Yeah, so for example, like I run a staker. I decided that all of these improvements are something that I want to see in Ethereum. So I updated my node software. And the idea is that this is sort of like a unanimous decision already in the ecosystem. And it's just sort of like expected that most of the network's going to update their nodes. So that's actually how adoption happens here. There's no centralized authority saying like you must update your node by this time. So if they use an Ethereum client that is not updated to the latest version, at the fork block, it will disconnect from the upgraded peers, leading to a fork in the network. In this scenario, each subset of the network nodes will only stay connected to those who share their upgraded status or unupgraded status. While most Ethereum upgrades are non-contentious and cases leading to forks have been rare, the option for node operators to coordinate on whether to support an upgrade or not is a key feature of Ethereum's governance. So guys, that's the Pectra mainnet announcement. Great blog post here if you want to jump into it. But I think we covered everything pretty much in depth. Let me know what you thought of this format. I'm going to try a few different formats in this podcast, but I think going over the latest news and just sort of focusing on what's happening in Ethereum is super important, because Twitter's a crazy place sometimes. There's so much different information, there's so many debates, but sometimes a little more of a narrow focus on exactly what the next thing coming, what you should be excited about, I think can be really useful. So let me know what you think in the comments, and until next time, see ya.